mountains I will proclaim your beauty and power and your fame. Your light shines further than these eyes can see. Your light will shine for all eternity.
Hey everyone, I'm DSpeed. This is DSpeedMinistries. Thank you for being here. It's about 5:30 in the morning in the mountains in Colorado, and I wanted to just kind of walk around a little bit and show you a couple of things that are my favorite things about the mountains. So one of my very favorite things to do up here, and this may sound strange, but is to get up really early like this, about 5:30 in the morning, and to watch the sunrise. To see the sun come up over the mountains is just incredibly brilliant. I don't know how else to describe it. It's magnificent. And I love doing that. I want to show you the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. And I'll try to get different shots of this so you can see it as the sun comes up. But this is one of those things that I really look forward to. And you can't do it every morning because sometimes there are storms, sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's foggy. So you can't necessarily see the mountains, or you can't see the sunrise every single morning. But on the clear days, the days where there aren't any clouds in the sky, you can see the sun come up. And the very first thing that you see is the sunlight hitting the tips of the mountaintops. And it reminds me of that song where it speaks of purple mountain majesty. It's interesting because when you see the sunlight first hit the very top of the mountains, that's what it looks like. It's purple mountain majesty. You see the sunlight at the very top, and the color is a very unique color that you don't see for the rest of the day. It's just that early morning color that comes up in the sunrise. But this is one of my very favorite things to do. So I look at this as a tremendous blessing. And I think some people, and I'm sorry for the movement and the camera movement. I'm trying to walk through the gate here. So I think some people may look at this and think, that's not a blessing. That's like not even enjoyable. Why would anybody want to get up at 5:30 in the morning to watch a sunrise? Why would anybody do that? Well, there's blessing in it, but it may look like at first it's too difficult, too hard to do, not necessarily enjoyable because of the difficulty. But that's how a lot of things are actually like in our life. They may appear as too difficult at first, but whenever we get into them, there's tremendous blessing. So when I think about getting up and watching the sun come up over the mountains, watching it rise, and seeing the sunlight hit the very tips of the mountains, and I think about the blessing of that, I think about how the God who spoke the world into existence placed these mountains where they are. He also placed the sun in its position. He spoke the world into existence, and we get to enjoy what he gave to us, what he created, what he put in its position so that we can exist. You know, you've heard me talk many times about the spiritual and the physical. Well, he spoke the world into existence. He spoke these mountains into existence. and he spoke the sun, which is going to be soon coming up over that hill behind me. You can just see the very top of it coming up. He spoke that into existence, and we get to exist in it. We get to walk in it, live in it, experience it, and yes, benefit from the blessing of something that we take for granted, or we often take for granted, something as simple as a sunrise. We don't really think about that. But you may say, okay, well, what's the blessing there, Darren? What's the blessing in a sunrise? Well, there is the blessing of watching God's creation and showing gratitude and practicing gratitude. Whenever I hear people say that, you hear self-help gurus say a lot these days, we need to practice gratitude. You need to have gratefulness. And I agree with that. But what I would ask is, what is the direction of your gratitude? Where is your gratitude going? Where is it pointing? The direction of your gratitude. Who are you grateful to? Well, I will tell you, your gratitude needs to be directed towards God. We can't just say, oh, I've got a grateful heart, a grateful mind. I practice gratitude. Well, that's fine, but the reality is your gratitude needs to be pointed towards the one that we are grateful to, and that is God. We need to be grateful to our provider, the one who gave us all these things so that we can have gratefulness, including giving us all of these beautiful mountains. Sorry for all the different camera angles. But then also the sunrise so that we can see these things. So the gratitude, if you think about the blessings, let's take for example the blessing of a sunrise. It's beautiful. We can watch God's creation. We can practice gratitude. But did you know that there are also physical benefits of getting up and watching a sunrise? I've heard scientists say, and I have to use quotations whenever I say scientist, because people use that like, oh, a scientist said it? Okay, well, we better pay attention because that means it's absolutely 100% true. Well, what is a scientist? A scientist is a male or a female, a man or a woman who went to college, went to university, went to school, and they read books, and they listened to somebody lecture, another person, and they took tests, and they passed those tests, and they studied, and they got a degree, and they became a scientist. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that we use that term as sometimes, well, that's the end-all be-all. If you're a scientist, then you're the highest intellectual being that we have on earth. I don't believe that. I believe it's valuable to have an education. I'm not saying that it's not valuable, but the scientist thing, sometimes I think we put too much emphasis on that. But back to my statement, scientists have said when you get up early in the morning and you watch a sunrise, there's something beneficial to your mental health, to your mental well-being, to your physical outlook for that day, because it affects your, I think it's called your circadian rhythm. It affects that. It affects your mental outlook to actually see the sunrise come up on the horizon, and those beams, when they hit your eyes at that angle, it sets your inner clock. It helps you, whether you think about it or not, it helps you biologically to understand morning, the time to rise, daylight, and then when the sun goes down, evening, and we start to slow down, and then we sleep, and it sets our biological clock. There's a physical blessing in doing that. Now, I'm not saying you have to get up every morning and watch the sunrise, but I am saying there's a blessing that we take for granted that we don't even think about sometimes, that God set that in place so that we could understand time and so that our bodies would function in His design for day and night, and for us to live and exist in this blessing that He has given us, and the way that it was set up for us to function. There's blessing in that. There's blessing in seeing a sunrise, letting those sunbeams, the sunlight, hit your eyes from that level in the morning. It does something biologically to set your clock, to help your mental ability and outlook for the day. It helps you to, I think, function in the design that God has given us. There's blessing in that. How many things do you forget or take for granted in our world and forget about the fact that it's a blessing from God? If you're like me, I mean, we're all human, and we overlook things. We overlook things as simple as a sunrise. We do that with other people. You know, I'm reminded of whenever we are growing up, we have parents, and at some point your parents pass away. I think I had told you recently that my mother passed away, and you take all those things for granted in your life. I did. You take for granted your parents until they are gone, until they pass, and then you start to see the gratitude. You start to see the graciousness and the things that you are grateful for. What I would encourage you to do is be grateful to God. Be grateful to Him for all that He has given, and express that gratefulness to Him first, and then express it to other people for what they are doing for you, what they have done, like your parents, like the people that we take for granted. Don't take people for granted. Don't take our world for granted, because God has given it to us. But direct your gratitude towards Him, and express that gratitude and gratefulness to Him, because He is the giver of all good things, including these mountains and this sun. I don't know if you can see that. It's just barely coming up, but it will get bright. It will become brighter to where it starts to come down this hill. The very tip of it hits the mountaintops that I was talking about. And then it will begin to come down this hill. And then this is one of those days, it's a clear day. And it will move across that valley. And then we'll see everything in its light. All the world will see it in the light of the sun. The sun that God put into its place. He spoke it into existence. And we need to be grateful. We need to take advantage of the blessings He has given to us, and express that gratitude and gratefulness toward Him. And yes, to others. Him first, and then to others. Because He is the giver of people. He is the giver of the people in your life that sometimes you might take for granted. I just wanted to share that with you today, and kind of show you the mountains again, and this whole area, the Sangre de Cristo mountain range. I hope you think about these things. I hope that this makes you think about God. Ultimately, I don't want you to just have a mental image of God or a thought. I want you to understand better who God is, what he has done for you, ultimately what he has done for you in and through his son, Jesus, and the fact that he's given you salvation. He's given you a gift. Like all of this is a gift. He has given you the gift of eternal life, the gift of salvation. You might say, well, I don't really need salvation. I don't really need forgiveness. I can tell you, you do. Just like I do. We all need that. We all need the salvation that Christ offers. We need that hope. And we need that peace. Thanks for being here today. We'll see you next time.
Oh, let us see. Oh, let us see.